The label pinned to my attire declared, "Domestic Staff." The gaiety surrounding me escalated, despite no one having shared a witty anecdote. His mother's voice, sharp and unforgiving, pierced through the din of the crystal goblets. "You are merely an employee here." Her slight, curled smile confirmed that this was no oversight. The label was a deliberate act. No seat, no dinnerware, no designated position. As the waiters circulated with trays laden with refreshments, John, my spouse, edged closer, allowing me to catch the strong scent of scotch on his breath. His muffled snicker was low, utterly cold. "Sustenance is reserved for kin." I maintained my composure, my movements deliberate. I slipped the band from my digit. "Then I am no longer part of your life." His grin dissolved. Yet that was only the prelude. I hadn't dared to voice. I was completing late shifts at the art space in San Francisco. He was the charismatic individual who would linger until closing, simply to hold a conversation. He professed I was his respite, his serenity. He claimed he didn't mind that I lacked material wealth, that my father repaired vehicles and my mother cleaned properties. "You're unlike them," he murmured close to my hair. I believed him. For years, I constructed a household founded upon that falsehood. The revelation, the slight fissures, emerged subtly. His late evenings, dismissed with careless excuses, the way his cellular device was perpetually in his trouser pocket, the way he started presenting me at social gatherings with a too-polished expression, as though he had rehearsed a precise phrase. Then arrived the communication, not intended for me, but inadvertently delivered to my inbox. His sister's name illuminated the subject heading, but the text contained his mother's directives. "Ensure her silence. She is a hireling, not a relative." And his response, as chilling as marble, "Do not concern yourself. She will recognize her I gazed at the screen until the letters blurred. Then I closed it. I did not shriek. I did not weep. I began to devise a strategy. The shift was instantaneous. Feeling is their instrument of control. Mastery would be mine. I observed slowly, quietly, the financial accounts he presumed I was oblivious to, the title deeds secured within his office vault, the monetary placements he had endorsed under my identity, because he thought I lacked the capacity to comprehend. He had constantly underrated me. Every signature he encouraged me to append without adequate explanation became my tool. Every condescending chuckle when I posed a query transformed into substantiation. He had inadvertently designated me a co-proprietor of his enterprise, and when I was prepared, I awaited the optimal setting. His siblings' forthcoming nuptials. The very evening they intended for my disgrace became the moment of retribution. They assumed the ignominy concluded when I departed. They failed to notice the legal consultant discreetly observing in the corner, while the photographer I had commissioned, capturing every derisive look, every utterance, every empty surface on the dining table where my chair should have stood. The visual record circulated quietly, initially to the executive personnel of his corporation, to the investors who prided themselves on traditional values. Then came the freezing of assets, bank accounts legally emptied, properties legally transferred, because while he was consuming liquor, laughing, and treating me like an employee, I was filing documentation, endorsing papers, securing my claim. By the time he grasped the situation, the documents were already stamped. He was no longer the proprietor. The final meeting. We stood opposite one another in the same reception room where the degradation had begun. Now it was vacant. No melodies, no cheer, just him hunched over the table, gazing at the papers spread before him like the remnants of a massacre. "You destroyed me," he murmured. I sat facing him, composed, my hands placidly clasped. "No, you orchestrated your own downfall. I merely gathered the evidence." His gaze was frantic, searching for frailty, for clemency, but none remained. He reached for me, desperate, not out of affection, but out of abject necessity. I leaned away, out of his reach. "Sustenance is reserved for kin," I stated softly, allowing his own utterance to complete the final blow. "The world envisions vengeance as flames and fury. They are mistaken. Retaliation is silence, documentation, precision. Vengeance is observing the haughty collapse into the pit they excavated, while you stand untarnished on the other side." I forsook him there with his empty receptacle, his tarnished reputation, his silence. Now when people inquire about my profession, I smile. I administer a corporation, and sometimes in the late hours I retrieve the old wedding band from the drawer. I hold it. I recollect not with sorrow but with absolute clarity, because once I believed I was nothing more than domestic staff in their perception. Now they serve me, and that was always the intention.